this particular one, I was thinking it would be great to use outdoors, it would be great to use indoors, and I'm gonna give you my personal experience with it. Hey, what's going on? This is Jasain at How To Reviews, and today I wanted to talk about my experience with the Crenova XPE 660 affordable projector. Now, this is going to be my user experience, and full disclosure, this item was actually provided to me for review, but you'll be getting my personal experience with using the item. And I also wanted to touch on what I believe is great first must-have accessories for an affordable projector such as this one. Now, I don't want to compare this to other projectors in this price range or more expensive. This is more for entry-level people, more than likely like myself. I would say that I would compare this experience from using a traditional TV and what I think it is as far as do I recommend it or not. Let's talk about that in a second, but first let me show you what's inside the box. So here we have the 2019 upgraded Crenova model. It has 5,000 lux brightness, and as far as I can tell by looking up and researching myself, 5,000 lux brightness seems to be pretty bright. It has a 4001 contrast, and basically that gives you a cleaner image that can show from 60 inches all the way to 200 inches, all while supporting up to 1080p. Now the native resolution is smaller, and this is what kind of confused me. It made me wonder by projecting it at a bigger screen, is it gonna look bad or anything else? And let me just tell you, it looks great. Obviously it looks better or more brighter in darker environments, but I've used it with a little bit of light in the room, and it's not gonna be as bright as a traditional LED panel or anything like that, or a LED screen in the same conditions, but honestly it's pretty great, and I really enjoy it so far. So the projection distance is as little as 6.6 feet all the way to 20.3 feet. Now that's great for smaller spaces such as indoors or larger spaces outdoors. Me, I was kind of thinking it would be great for socializing, as far as if there's a boxing match on, some sports games, or you have kids outside and you want to just figure out how to shoot the screen. I've seen people shoot it on the brick side of the house or siding, and at nighttime it works pretty well either way. So I always just visioned it being a nice social type of entertainment piece. So at first I was a little concerned with the built-in audio quality, but in a medium-sized room I was actually pleasantly surprised. Now I'm not sure how well this will work outdoors, but I also currently don't have it mounted in any way, so the projector was basically in front of where I'm sitting, and it sounded way better than many of the speakers that you'll find in your current LEDs, and it's definitely better than the one that's in my Samsung right now. And the reason why you basically can hear it, and doesn't matter if it's in front or behind you, because it has omnidirectional speakers, which basically means that the direction of the sound goes everywhere. So these speakers are actually marketed to have hi-fi stereo sound with SRS sound. So in the menu system, there's actually options to put it in a surround sound type of mode just with the internal audio. You can add external audio as well, but just referring to the internal, just basically everything in the box here. It lessens the sound, but it does spread it out pretty nicely, where it felt like I was just watching a regular TV. So it also has an advanced updated 3 consistently running fan system with a lamp life of up to 50,000 hours. Now it says 3 fans in the description. I don't know where the third one is, but I can physically see 2 of them for sure. There's another one in there somewhere apparently, and they're not that loud. At first I thought it would be, but when you start watching a movie or having audio, it doesn't have to be loud. It's not really distracting at all. You really don't pay attention to it, and it kind of gets lost in your hearing, and you don't pay attention at all. It just blends in with everything. Now outside, in the menu system, there's a setting to put it on high speed, and which is a bit louder, but I would imagine if you're using it outdoors and it's not in a controlled environment and maybe it's a little warm outside, that would be the ideal or time to use that feature to help keep it cool so it doesn't overheat and shut down. So let's take a look at the back. So here we have the power cord input, a master physical on and off switch. You have 2 HDMI ports and 2 USB ports. So you can basically put in a USB stick with some files on there with music, pictures even, movies. And you can also use dongles such as like maybe a Fire Stick or something like that. You have an IR port here in the front. You're gonna see like an infrared port. You're gonna see the edge of the lens is a black rim that you twist. It basically allows you to focus for a sharper picture. I do kind of wish there was a wheel on the body that you can roll instead of so close to the lens, because as many times I touched it, even though it does come with cleaning cloths or wipes, I kept touching it. And in the front, you can see these vented slots here, and you push it in on the side and it releases. It's a filter basically for the intake. You want to make sure you keep that clean so make sure that the airflow is good. On the top is pretty easy to understand without even reading a manual. Left, right, up and down, the OK. M is not mute, it's for menu. S is for source. The remote is even easier. Up and down for volume, power, mute. It has this is what I kind of don't understand. Well, it has play and fast forward. I'm pretty sure that's for USB sticks when you put in a file and stuff like that for music or video or pictures. But there's a button here that changes the flipping of the screen, like the mirroring of the screen. I don't know why you would need to change the orientation of this particular projection with this projector. It has to do with mounting it. I don't know other ways to mount it except the way that you see it. So other than that, let me talk about my first recommended accessories that I consider as must-have and pretty affordable. The first one will probably be, especially for iPhone users, they have a lightning to HDMI for iPhone users. And if you're like me and have an SS Max, I just spend a little bit more and get the Apple brand. It is almost double the price, but I had issues with the highly recommended generic version. And even though it's highly recommended, it probably works for most iPhones. It didn't work with my particular phones. USB-C to HDMI if you have an Android. Yeah, so if you have a newer iPhone, just spend a little bit more and then you don't have to worry about it. So the next accessory that I have to recommend would be getting a screen. Now, in my personal experience or in my personal situation or environment, I actually didn't need it. My walls are actually lightly painted in yellow, and I couldn't even tell that it was yellow when you spray it on the screen. I couldn't tell at all. Now, I will say with this particular screen, I ordered a 120-inch screen. It was around $40. You can pay even less and get a cloth-based screen, but they say that the PVC, which is kind of like just a plasticky vinyl type tarp feeling, is that it gives you better contrast, so it'll appear that it's a sharper image and the color should be a little bit better. What I did notice for sure compared to the wall is that it was a little bit brighter in image overall. I don't know if that has to do with the screen being white versus my wall being yellow. That could have something to do with it. I'm not really sure, but I really didn't need to have it, but I already ordered it. And I just, those items, the accessories that I have that I'm mentioning, those are just paid for directly by me, and they weren't given to me for any type of review or anything. These are things that I thought would be necessary. And like I said, it's not 100% necessary, but I would still recommend it, being that it is inexpensive. And if you take it outside, you probably definitely would want a screen, especially if you don't have a good place to spray it on the wall or whatever the case is. Even though I did see people watching, sport games on the side of brick walls and stuff like that. So once you find a way to mount it, I think it works really well. Let me see. And this particular one is 120 inches, 16:9 PVC screen with metal hanging hole grommets. Now, I noticed a lot of people who use it outdoors made these structures out of PVC piping. It's a great idea, but I kind of don't want that because I just feel like it's too inconvenient and I don't want to keep hanging, unhanging, folding it. This particular one, it is easy to fold. It doesn't seem to get wrinkled like really bad or anything like that. And it comes with a carrying case. It seems good enough to hold the actual PVC screen. From this part, I basically want to talk about the pros and cons. So there's definitely more pros and cons. The cons are very small, but I need to mention them, of course. The pros that I have, the first thing will be, it's definitely affordable. It's nice looking. It's great picture quality when comparing it to my current 65-inch Samsung LED. It's great. It's good using it when you even shoot it on a wall, depending on how bright the room is. Obviously, the darker the room, the better. It's even brighter with the screen, like I said, which is very inexpensive. Another pro would have to be, I would say, the sound quality. The sound quality and the inputs has a lot of inputs on there. I'm not comparing this, like I said, to other projectors, but for this price point, I think it's great. I think it's very comparable. I don't feel like it's a notice or a loss. I really like it coming from a regular TV. I'm emphasizing that because, like I said, there's gonna be people who say, oh, there's better versions, there's whatever. I'm not really sure, and I'm not really worried about that. I don't know other brands, and I'm not really interested in it or worried about it. I'm actually glad that this company actually reached out to me because like I said, I always wanted a projector. I didn't really care what brand it was. I just wanted something that worked well. And I don't have a 4K TV even either. So I'm only basing this also off of using a larger LED screen that is a HD TV. I've always been happy with that. And this is very comparable and it's much bigger in perspective. Now let me get to the negatives though. While it's not a lot, oh, one more positive. They have a lifetime customer service with all their projectors, and it includes a risk-free 12-month warranty for replacements or refunds with a lifetime customer service and tech support. Now that seems pretty good as long as they honor it. The only other issue that I actually had was it comes with a rubber lens cap, and the rubber lens cap has a little hole for a string to be tied onto it, so when you pop it off, it doesn't fall to the floor. That was ripped, but that's not really a big deal. The cap still works. If it had a built-in lens cover I've seen people have on like higher end projectors, that'd be nice, but it's not necessary. And considering the price point, I mean, you got to take some of the good with the bad, even though it's not really a bad. All right, so let me talk about what I would consider the negatives. Now, it's not that many, but I'm all about convenience, even probably more so than quality. I think it's really important. What I was saying earlier about not really sure why you can change the mirror flip of the projector is because, and maybe it's just my misunderstanding of how to use it, but I've noticed with most projectors, they have mounting points. I was hoping that it at least had a mounting point right in the middle, like a 1/4 or something, so I could put it on a tripod maybe. Other than that, I noticed that there's always 4 mounting holes on the top or the bottom of the units, or you unscrew the legs and that's where you put the mounting points, and you have universal projector mounts that you can put on the wall, hanging on the ceiling, and it pretty much just opens up like an X pattern like this, and each corner pretty much locks into those screws, and then you mount it on the wall or ceiling or whatever you have. With this particular unit, it seems to be geared more towards putting it on a tabletop or flat surface. That's a little inconvenient, but in the diagrams or in the marketing materials, they show it on desks and tables. So I'm assuming that that's just how they designed it, maybe to save cost. There is one screwed leg, if you will, in the front that you can screw to kind of tilt it upwards. There's something called a keystone adjustments that I didn't even know what that was at first. So basically the way I had the projector, I'll show you in a clip real quick. Excuse the mess, but we're moving things around, so I have a lot of junk in the way. The unit is in front of me, in front of my bed area, and I couldn't put it behind me because I don't have a way to mount it. And putting it in front of me too low, I wouldn't be able to see the screen, so I had to tilt it upwards like this. And while you're tilting it upwards, the screen looks skewed. It doesn't look like a perfect square or rectangle. It's kind of like off looking. So the keystone adjustment allows you, so just say the screen it looks like this as you're watching. As you adjust the keystone adjustment, you can kind of squish it back to like the normal perspective. And that's good if you have to have it sort of at an angle, whether it be higher or lower, depending on how you have it mounted. And again, I did see one universal mount where it was a tray and you strap it. That just seems like an old school way. So I wish that's probably the only thing I wish it had, only for convenience purposes, that it had some kind of mounting points. If there's another way to possibly mount it, I mean, somebody let me know an easier way. I want it also easy to take off if I ever want to take it outside. The fan's not loud. You may think so in the beginning, but as you start actually watching something, you'll realize that it drowns out when you're watching TV at normal volumes. So nowadays you can get them as low as in the $200 range, which is like this one, all the way up to multiple $1,000s. I actually, come to think about it, this Crenova brand, I actually saw one in their Amazon listings, and it was as low as, I think it was like $59 actually. It was like a mini projector. Now, I don't know how great it is as far as internal audio and other things, but based on my experience with this in the short period of time that I did use it, I would probably recommend it even without trying it, based on their warranty and other things that they provide. I imagine that you're going to have some shortcomings with that version compared to this version, but you'd have to do your research and read the description and contact their customer service or check out other reviews before you invest in anything. It seems to be easy to use, pretty straightforward, a lot of inputs. I'm trying to think of any other negatives, and this is my honest opinion. I definitely recommend it, especially at this price point in the few $100 range. Right now, they even have, if you check the box on Amazon, it gives you like even a discount. I think it's 15% or so on the price, so you save even more. Get Prime, at least where I'm located, 1-day delivery or same day even in some places. I think this is awesome. I think it's really good. I really enjoy it. I wish there was a way I could utilize it in my living room, but I don't really have a place where I can put the PVC screen. The way I would do it, that I see a lot of people using in their theater rooms, what they'll do is build an actual frame, just the perimeter of the frame, and then what they'll do is have the screen within the frame, so it kind of looks like, I don't know, like a screen on the wall. That's a very clean way of doing it. I'm just not doing it in my space because I just don't have the open wall area that I would like to have it at. So I'm just gonna use it in my room for now. And then, like I said, take it outside for social gatherings and stuff like that. Fire pit, grill, whatever, game, watch a movie, set something up for kids. If you don't mind bugs outside, put a blanket on the ground. Affordable, a great value, I would say. Projector made by Crenova. And I'll put the links in the description below. Hopefully this is helpful to people looking at it. What I want to do too is, my son is really into games. I want to hook up like a Switch or whatever he wants to play. And I want him to try to play it on the screen too, because it's way bigger. Get some curtains if you need to, if you need to darken your room out or anything like that. So if this was helpful at all, please hit like or subscribe. Hit that notification icon for updates on future videos. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. So other than that, make sure you do everything at top level. Until next time, see you later.